Peace and blessings, everyone who is in attendance today, and those who are watching this on the recording, on the replay. Today, we are going to do a class on how to surrender not only to yourself, but to surrender to your guides, your purpose, your ancestors, etc. And so, we're going to go over why it's important to surrender, and then we're going to go through an affirmation that I created some time ago on the steps in surrendering. So before we get started, I would like to start off with a grounding to make sure we are grounded to the earth. I'm going to be using a symbol called Raku with selenite. So the grounding symbol will enter the middle of your body, and the selenite energy will be along with it. Ashe? So at this point, you should start feeling energies in the center of your body, making its way down to your lower legs and eventually out the bottom of your feet. You also should feel some sense of calmness as well along with this. Now that we're grounded, we're going to ask the divine to come in and assist us in this class so that we can see, feel, and hear, know what we need for our highest good. Ashe? So before we get into the affirmations, we're going to start with a cleanse of your clairs, which is clairvoyance, deals with your ability to see through the third eye. Clairaudience, your ability to hear with the mind's ears. Claircognizant, having a clear knowing, even if you're not sure where it's coming from, you just have that knowing, inner knowing. And your clairsentience, which deals with your ability to feel, especially on the skin, feeling the energies that are around you. If you're an empath, you may be very familiar with being able to feel. That's your clairsentience. So we're going to start by using the symbol of Chokurei from Reiki 2, which in using the symbol is going to cleanse and unblock your clairs. Ashe. So as the symbol works through to cleanse your clairs, the selenite energy behind it will also cleanse and remove any blockages in the physical body. So we're going to take about 30 seconds and allow this energy to continue to work on you, and then we're going to move forward. As this energy moves through you, pay attention to where you are feeling it in the physical body. Feel where the blockages are. So if they come again, you know where to go and address them. Now, let's get into the class. Again, this class is about how to surrender. How do I surrender? When you surrender, you always have to start with self first and then work your way outward. What I learned in creating the affirmation that the divine creator channeled through me was that how can I surrender to the divine creator if I haven't surrendered to self first? If I haven't surrendered to myself, the messages that the divine has for me, I would not receive them. I wouldn't be able to get them because I haven't surrendered to everything I need to be able to receive those messages. So I asked the divine creator to help me create something to keep me in check when I find myself drifting off of my spiritual path, or when I find myself not listening to the messages that they're trying to give me. And then this was the affirmation that was written. I'm going to share with you right now. And we're going to use this affirmation, and we're going to go line by line to help you surrender to each part of you and outside of you that you need so that your purpose and your abilities come through clear. Okay, so this is the affirmation, the Healer University affirmation. The first line of affirmation is I surrender to my inner self. I surrender to my inner self. What is the inner self? The inner self can be also looked at as the soul because the soul feels. The inner self feels. The inner self is your emotional body, it's your emotions. The inner self feels. So, to be able to know what's going on at the root of you, or the problem, or the issue, you have to be able to feel what it is. See, the ego, on the other hand, causes us to think, and thinking is not a bad thing. However, if a feeling is not along with that thinking, it can throw us off course. So we have to surrender to the inside of us, to the soul that we were born with in this lifetime, so that we're able to know exactly what the root of the problem is. The inner self, the soul says, this is what's wrong. This is what's wrong. So when we are not sure why we are going through certain things, when we are not sure why we're having certain issues in our lives or certain emotions, we have to talk to our inner self. We have to talk to it, ask the inner self, what is wrong? Why am I feeling this? Why am I going through this? So a lot of times our inner self will give us feelings and emotions to bring us to an awareness of something that's going on in our life. But we tend to not listen because the ego steps in and says, you don't have to deal with that right now. You can push that to the side. It's not that big of a deal. And then the inner self keeps on showing us over and over again until we eventually surrender to the inner self to allow it to talk to us. Now, when you surrender to your inner self, we're going to also let the inner self give us any messages that it's been trying to give us. So, as we surrender to our inner self, allow yourself to see, feel, hear what the inner self is trying to show you. You can even ask by saying, I surrender to my inner self and I ask my inner self to present itself to me. Or I am ready to receive any messages my inner self has for me. So at this time, I'm going to ask everyone to repeat I surrender to my inner self, and I ask my inner self to present itself to me. So at this moment, you should start to see images in the mind. You may have a feeling. You may hear something in your mind, some words, like if someone's talking to you. Listen to your inner self in your voice. You should hear your own voice talking to you, telling you what's wrong. I'm going to quiet for about 30 seconds or so and allow that to happen. Anytime you are speaking with your inner self, it's imperative that you take note of what you see, feel, and hear. Because again, the inner self deals with the root of the problem. It's important to know the root of the problem because we can that's how we fix it. We got to know what it is. The first step of fixing problems is identifying the problem. Again, that's what the inner self does. The next line on this affirmation deals with the higher self, the higher self. So the inner self is the soul that you're born with in this particular lifetime. The higher self is a part of you that lives every lifetime. Sometimes I like to look at the higher self as like the God version of you. This is the divine God version of you, the part of you that's directly connected to the divine creator. The higher self that's been with you lifetime after lifetime and knows exactly what you need to do to fix whatever problem that was presented to you by your inner self. So the higher self and the inner self has to work hand in hand. The higher self and the inner self has to be in agreement with each other. So when the inner self says this is what's wrong, the the higher self says, I agree, and this is what we're going to do to fix it. Your higher self will mostly speak to you in your upper chakras through your third eye and crown, throat chakra. Your higher self would talk to you just like your inner self would, but your higher self would talk to you typically in your own voice. So when you hear yourself talking to yourself, that is your higher self speaking to you, guiding you, showing you what to do. So it's imperative that we surrender to our higher self, which is us, the higher form of us, so that we can actually be guided from our higher self. Even outside of your spirit guides, no one knows you better than your own higher self because it is you. So when you need to know what should I do about a certain situation, feeling, event, something that happened, or even just something that you want to manifest, it is your higher self that is going to show you what to do. It is your higher self that's going to say, this is how we do it best. This is how we did it in the past life. And we're going to bring that knowledge forward to this life. Use that in this one. That's what the higher self is going to do. So not only do I like to command to surrender to my higher self, I also like to ask my higher self to bring forth the divine knowledge I need for this lifetime, because the higher self knows what I've done in the previous lifetimes. So the simple command for this will be, I surrender to my higher self. I ask my higher self to present itself to me and to download any divine knowledge I need in this lifetime. I surrender to my higher self. I surrender to my higher self. I allow my higher self to present itself to me. I ask my higher self to bring forth any knowledge, any divine knowledge that I need for this lifetime. Ashe. So as you say that, just take about a minute. Allow yourself to see, feel, and hear what your higher self has to bring forth to you. Just like when speaking to the inner self, taking notes about what you see, feel, and hear, the same thing will apply in each line of this affirmation. So, of course, with the higher self, we also want to take note of what the higher self has for us. The higher self is also the part of you that does your divine work. You do your divine, when you use your divine abilities, it's your higher self that goes and perform these duties. It is your higher self that performs these duties. It is your higher self that communicates with other spiritual beings in the astral world. It is your higher self that is connected to the divine creator. It is your higher self that is connected to the other spirit guides and guardians that watches over you, guardian angels. So on the next line, we're going to address surrendering to your divine purpose, your divine purpose. So let's understand what divine means, just in case there's someone who have some confusion. Divine or divination is to be able to find an answer from a supernatural source, a source outside of you, and sometimes even within you. So when we say divine, we're saying using source energy that can bring us the answers we're looking for to a particular question or situation. Even with manifestation, the divine says, okay, based on what you requested in your manifestation, we know what it is, we'll go get it. We'll go get what you need to do to make that manifestation real. So surrendering to your own divine purpose, which is your life purpose, the reason you reincarnated here on this planet, we have to surrender to it so that we can ensure that we're on the right track. You know, one of the ways to be blocked from our divine purpose is to have a blockage in your crown chakra. Because the crown chakra, again, connects us to divine source, to God, spirit guides, guardians, higher self. So at this point, I'm going to do a general healing of the crown chakra for those who may need it and is open to receiving it. The crown chakra sits at the top of the head, but it also incorporates the brain itself. So using the symbol of Choku-rei and Seihei-ki, which is the emotional healing symbol, but also helps organs and cleanse, we're going to place the Choku-rei and the Seihei-ki in the crown chakras of us all, allowing the crown chakra to be cleansed, open, balanced, and healed. Ashe. One of the feelings of having a blocked crown chakra also deals with feeling like you're not belonging to this world, feeling like you don't know why you're here. I don't know what my purpose is. So when we're connected and we surrender to the divine purpose, it can come in clear. When we surrender to the divine purpose, the divine starts to orchestrate things around you to put you on track with your divine purpose. So, simple affirmation: I surrender to my divine purpose. I surrender to my divine purpose. I surrender to my divine purpose. Take time when you do this to take note of any images, feelings, emotions that you might see, feel, hear. In some cases, you may even be able to see what your divine purpose is because you surrender to it. So allow yourself to surrender to your divine purpose. Ashe? On to the next line of the affirmation. We're going to be addressing surrendering to our spiritual gifts or divine abilities. It's different names, but all the same. You know, we know what our purpose is once we've surrendered to it. But then we have these spiritual gifts that we were born with that we need to use to be able to fulfill our divine purpose. We have gifts of maybe clairvoyance. Maybe you are a seer and you are someone who are able to look into the Akashic records to help someone understand their past life. Maybe you are someone who's an empath and your gift is clairsentience, to be able to feel the other person's emotions so you can guide them and how they can heal from it. Maybe you have a spiritual gift of being able to read tarot or oracle cards. As each card is its own portal, you have the ability to connect to the cards and be able to tell a story or give a divine answer to the person that you're helping or the people that you're helping. So your divine abilities goes hand in hand with your divine purpose. Your spiritual gifts also goes in hand with your higher self and inner self, because it is your spiritual gifts that you use to receive the messages from your higher self and inner self. Sometimes we may find ourselves in a position where we are not sure if we trust the spiritual gifts that we have. We have trouble trusting our own intuition. Maybe we see something in the mind's eye and we question it. I'm not sure if I'm seeing what I'm seeing. When you surrender to your spiritual gifts, however, the spiritual gifts will come in very subtle and very smooth, and they will come in and show you things without question. You will know exactly what you see, feel, and hear. That is what it is. So, in surrendering to your spiritual gifts, it will help you be more calm and relaxed when doing your divination. And the answers that you're looking for will come in faster, quicker, smoother. So, allow yourself to surrender to the gifts that you were born with in this lifetime. Remember, these spiritual gifts you asked for. You asked to have these gifts for this lifetime for your divine purpose. Another part is these spiritual gifts and your divine purpose may also go hand in hand with your astrology chart or your natal chart. So finding out what your natal chart is and what signs and planets goes in whatever houses can also show and tell you what you need to know for this particular lifetime. Okay, so the next slide we're going to go into, we're going to address surrendering to the divine creator. Surrendering to the divine creator. Now, I must, of course, give this disclaimer that different cultures, different ethnicities, different parts of the world may look at the divine creator as a different, in different ways, uh, even as different names. So, whatever creator or God that you are comfortable with, that is what you go with. For me, I see it as the divine creator. Those are the words that came to me. So, our divine creator is very strong, very powerful, all knowing. Our divine creator can also come in and give us messages, help us with our gifts, turning them on. The divine creator can bless us when we're out there helping other people heal in the world. Sometimes we have a direct link to the divine creator when it comes to our spiritual purpose. And so when we talk about being able to receive messages from God or the divine creator, what is God trying to tell me? We've heard people say that. We may have said it. What is the divine creator trying to tell me? So we must surrender to the divine creator so that we can receive the messages. Now, if you would notice, we surrender to our own self prior to surrendering to the divine creator. We surrender to our inner self, higher self, our divine purpose, and spiritual gifts first before surrendering to the divine creator. Why? Because if we don't surrender on how to receive the message, then we won't be able to receive it. So we have to surrender to our own self and our own abilities to receive the message from the divine creator. We have to. Going to the next line of affirmation, talks about surrendering to your divine ancestors. Now, I must say, not all ancestors are created equal. Some ancestors are malevolent, and some ancestors are benevolent, and some are kind of right in the middle, neutral. Your ancestors are part of your lineage, bloodlines. Your ancestors are those who have lived on this planet, and when they transition to the other side, they come back in the form of energy to still help you in your divine mission and your life purpose. You can have many different ancestors. You can have some that help with healing, and healing also comes in many different forms. You can have some that help heal you physically. You can have an ancestor that heals you emotionally. You can even have one that heals you when it comes to maybe your diet, your spirit. So there's many different healing ancestors. There are some ancestors that deals with uh, helping heal the bloodlines of the family. There's some ancestors that help you heal the bloodline of the family. Many of you who are here have an inner feeling that you are the one that are to break the generational curses in your family. So these divine ancestors will be the one to expose to you what generational curses needs to be broken, what generational behaviors needs to be healed, what generational patterns need to be avoided and done away with. This is what your divine ancestors will do. Your divine ancestors will also show you what type of spiritual methods work best for you. Because typically, when it comes to our spiritual gifts, it is done or it is given to us by bloodline. If mom was able to see through her third eye, most likely the child will be able to see through the third eye. And that applies to the father as well. The divine abilities are usually passed down generation to generation. So these divine ancestors will come in and say, and this is how we do it in our family. So regardless of how and where you learn from, your divine ancestors will be the one to show you if you do it this way like we do it, it'll work better for you. So I always tell anyone that I teach, take what I have as an example, but always go and ask your divine ancestors, is this the way we should do it? So I surrender to my divine ancestors. I welcome and allow my divine ancestors to guide me in what I need to do and know for this lifetime. Ashe. As you have said this affirmation and surrendering to your divine ancestors and welcoming them to assist you in your divine mission, you may notice you start to feel their presence immediately because they're already there. They're just waiting for you to surrender and welcome them in. Going to the next line of the affirmation, we deal with surrendering to the divine spirit animals. Now, spirit animals are spirits that show up in animal form for certain type of messages. They can also be great protectors. Sometimes also a spirit animal can be an ancestor that's showing up in the form of an animal. I'll give an example. During a reading, I seen a Native American man who had a lion, a female lion, lying at his feet. This was a spirit animal. And in speaking with the spirit animal, we realized that the spirit animal was actually his grandmother because he was able to correlate his grandmother with the female lion because of who she was when she was living and the animal that she resonated with the most. So sometimes, again, they can come in the form of an animal, but it could be actually an ancestor. Spirit animals can give warnings. For an example, the fox. The fox spirit animal is one that warns you about people that you should be careful with. The fox says, hey, be careful with that person. Okay? That's what the fox does. So when we surrender to the spirit animals, they can come in our lives and actually help guide and protect us in certain ways. When it comes to cleansing ourselves or the spaces that we're in, there are some spirit animals who will come forth to remove any negative energies and entities in the space. One of the spirit animals that have found to work very well are dragons, the dragon spirit animals, very strong spirit animals. So this is something that you have to, again, allow your third eye to show you what type of spirit animal is around you. You can also ask the spirit animals to present itself to you. And as you close your eyes, sometimes you will see the animals come in one at a time. And then you acknowledge what you see, and then you see the next picture in your mind. Okay, that's the next spirit animal. And you keep seeing the animals until there's no more. Again, I highly recommend you take notes of what you see. And then you go back through one at a time and you talk to each spirit animal. Why are you here with me? What is your purpose with me? And that animal will show you why they're there. This same technique you can also use when talking with your divine ancestors, spirit guides, guardians. You can ask them to present themselves, and sometimes you might see exactly who they are. It could be someone who just passed away 2 years ago that's in the family that came back to be a spirit guide. Or it can be someone from 10 generations before you. And you can ask them, what should I call you? What should I address you by? Okay? So again, I surrender to my divine spirit animals and welcome you to assist me in my divine purpose, my divine abilities. I surrender to my divine spirit animals, welcoming you to come in and assist me in my divine purpose, my divine abilities. Ashe. Just like with the divine ancestors, when you welcome them in, sometimes you will feel their energies immediately. You may even hear an animal sound inside of your head. That could be that spirit animal letting you know they're there and what type of animal they are. The next part of this affirmation, next line we're going to address, deals with negativity we have placed upon ourselves. Again, this is dealing with surrendering. And part of surrendering also deals with being honest with yourself, being honest with the roles that you play in the things, good and bad, that happen in your life. Sometimes we have experiences in our lives that we may feel victim to. And we may feel we didn't play a role in it. We may feel that, woe is me. But if we don't self reflect and actually look into the negativity we place ourselves in, then we are bound to repeat that karmic cycle over again. This is about being honest with self. There are times I've done cleanses, and I've had a client come to me. 90% of the curses that were attached to them were those that they put on themselves. 10% was outside of them. How we speak to ourselves. We can self-curse ourselves. If we say we don't have, then we won't have. If we say these things will never happen for me, well, we just self-curse ourselves, and those things will never happen for you. We can create our own blockages. We can place negativity in our life simply by how we speak to ourselves. I'm always surrounded by people who hate me. That is placing negativity upon yourself because you're speaking into the universe to send people that hate you. Because the universe is only going to respond to what you say, what you command. So if you speak negativity into yourself, then you shall get negativity. placed on you. If you look in the mirror and you see nothing but the negative, then every time someone comes around you, they will also see the negative that you see, because that is what you are putting in front of you. And then it takes a person with empathy to be able to see past the negativity you placed on yourself, to then show you that no, you are not this person you're claiming to be. And you can be better than that. And they can try to help guide you out of it, but only if you want it. Because again, this is negativity you may have placed on yourself. And when you have placed it upon yourself, it is harder for a practitioner to remove something that you don't want to let go. So in saying this affirmation, it allows your higher self, which knows everything about you, your higher self will then go and detach everything that's negatively attached to you, whether it's people, whether it's situations, relationships, places, things, objects, anything that you placed yourself in that is negative to you. And negative is going to be subjective to the person. What's negative to you may not be negative to someone else. So when we say negativity I place upon myself, we allow our higher selves to say, this is negative to me. We're going to remove that. This is a part of an affirmation where the rest of the lines, you can always use them as a standalone affirmation, especially with this one, because sometimes you want to repeat it over and over again, because the more you repeat it, the more layers of the negativity comes off. And this, just like, any of the other surrendering, you definitely want to make sure you note, write down what you see, feel, and hear. So affirmation is, I release all negativity I have placed upon myself. I release all negativity I have placed upon myself. I release all negativity I have placed upon myself. And as you say this affirmation over and over again, you can feel the energy leaving the body. You can feel the energy being pulled out of the body. And if the energy gets stuck, then you keep saying it. And you say it because the more you say it, the more conviction, the more you start to believe it, the more your words become more powerful in calling out the energy and removing it. There's saying that you can always control the energy when you call it out by name. So we're calling the negativity we placed on ourselves, we're calling that out of us. But you have to mean it and you have to want it. So you repeat it over and over again until you're satisfied. I release all negativity I have placed upon myself. Ashe. When releasing the negativity you have placed upon yourself, you can also ask your divine creator, the divine ancestors, spirit animals, to assist in removing that negativity, because they work with you. They also know what things are negatively connected to you as well. So you don't have to do this alone. You have the divine around you to assist you. Sometimes the divine may lead someone who's in the physical to help you release that negativity. Because just like angels come in spirit form, angels also walk the earth as well. Angels reincarnate as well. The next line of his affirmation deals with calling in the type of protection that we need for our highest good. The line of his affirmation says, I am surrounded by my divine creators, love and protection. I am surrounded by my divine creators, love and protection. Love is a very high frequency, very high frequency. The opposite energy to love would probably be hate, which is a very low, heavy, dense energy. So sometimes love alone can be used as a cleansing agent and also can be used for protection. If I'm surrounded by love, then hate energy will have a little bit hard of a time getting to me because I got to make it through all that love energy. And because my divine creator is so loving and is willing to share the love with you, with us, I'm calling on the divine creator to place love and protection around me because I know that it's going to be some strong love and strong protection. When we talk about the protection part, the divine creator, your guardian angels, ancestors, your higher self knows what protection you need. Sometimes we don't even have to specify, in some cases, the type of protection we're asking for because, again, they already know. They know what type of energy we need protection from. They know what type of people we need protection from. So when I ask my divine creator for love, to surround me with love and protection, I trust because I've already surrendered to my divine creator up further on the fifth line. I've already surrendered to the divine creator. So when I ask my divine creator to surround me with love and protection, I have full confidence that my divine creator knows the protection I need and that I can keep doing what I'm doing without being worried if someone is doing something to me. Now, when I ask my divine creator for protection, does that mean I can slack on protecting myself? Absolutely not. We still have our own role in protecting ourselves as well. This is when we go to the higher self. Higher self, place the protection around me that I need for my highest good, Ashe. So again, the affirmation is, I am surrounded by my divine creator's love and protection. As you say this affirmation, you should be able to feel the energy of the divine creator placing the love and protection around you. Love energy, because it's a high vibration, will usually feel like a cooler temperature energy. The next line is affirmation deals with being filled with the divine creator's energy. The divine creator's unconditional love and light. Sometimes for us to be able to give unconditional love to others, we have to know what unconditional love feels like. So when we ask the divine creator to fill us with unconditional love and light, and we start to build a muscle memory, so to speak, to the energy of unconditional love and light, then we know how to share that with others. Sometimes our cup is only so big, right? Our cup is only so big, we can only give so much from our cup. And sometimes our cup is empty because we've been given so much and we haven't been getting back. So then we need the divine creator. We want the divine creator to come in and fill us with that unconditional love and light energy so that our cup can be refilled, we can be recharged and rejuvenated, and then we can pass some of that unconditional love and light to others who may need it. Because the divine creator has infinite energy. The divine creator is willing to give you the unconditional love and light you need if you ask for it. There are many times in your divine purpose, you will find yourself drained. You will feel heavy in the inside. You will feel unloved at times because you feel like you're helping, and no one is helping you. So these are the times when we have to ask the divine creator to fill us with the unconditional love and light so that we can remember we are loved. Feel the love energy, feel the light energy. Refill our cup with the strongest power in this universe, and that's that of the divine creator. Again, a simple affirmation is, I am filled with my divine creator's unconditional love and light. I am filled with my divine creator's unconditional love and light. Ashe. When you say this affirmation, you should be able to feel the divine creator's energies entering the body and filling up the spaces that are empty, that need love, that need light. Unconditional love, just like we talked about love energy in the last line of the affirmation, unconditional love does not come with judgment. It's just love. And sometimes unconditional love energy can be used to cleanse the heart space, cleanse the mental space, cleanse the subconscious. Unconditional love can also be a protectant, just like we talked about in the last line. Giving love and receiving love without judgment. If I'm filled with unconditional love, then I attract unconditional love. And that again is love without judgment. The last line of this affirmation deals with giving gratitude and thanks. Going back to curses and blockages, there are times when someone may assume that there's a blockage placed on them when the blockage is within self. And the blockage comes from not having gratitude for what you already have. Sometimes the divine may say, okay, the karmic lesson this person needs to learn is to be grateful for what they have. So we're going to stop giving for a little while. We're going to stop giving them their manifestations they ask for because they're not grateful. They're not even grateful. So then the blockage comes from the divine to teach you a lesson. We have to have gratitude and thanks for all that we go through and all that we do, even the situations that we didn't like. Be thankful for the lesson that you learned out of the situations you didn't like, or the relationships, or the places you've been. Be thankful for the lessons you learned. Be thankful that you made it through and you were able to come out on the other side of that situation. When you're going through some situations, it could seem like the world is just ending because of what you're feeling at the moment. Even in those situations, have gratitude that you know. Even if it hurts, have gratitude that you know that you're no longer blind to a situation or a relationship, person, place, object. Have gratitude even in that. And in having gratitude, you will feel your inner vibrations raise. Even in those dark moments, you will feel your inner vibrations raise. And as your vibrations raise, the quicker you can come out of that dark situation because your vibrations will no longer resonate with the darkness that you're going through. Allow yourself to have gratitude and give thanks. You can even go down the line specifically saying who you're having gratitude for, who you're giving thanks to, what you're giving thanks for. Writing it down in a book. I have gratitude for, and then you just start listing it. Have gratitude. Have thanks. The very last ending part of this affirmation is very important because just like with a prayer, affirmations also work best with a confirmation word or a confirmation phrase. When you think of a confirmation word or phrase, this deals with when I say this word or phrase, whatever affirmation I said gets sent out to the universe backed behind the power of the confirmation word. So because a lot of my ancestors are of West Africa, the confirmation word they charged me to use was the word Ashe. Ashe being the command authority to use the resources around you to get a specific, thing done that you asked for or that you want to do. Ashe also is a confirmation word to say it is so. Because you said it, it's going to happen. Ashe can also be used as a word in agreement with something that you've heard, seen, done. This can also be looked at as the word amen. Amen is also a confirmation word in some cultures and religions. Amen can mean confirmation, that this affirmation or prayer that I'm saying, the amen pushes the prayer where it belongs, to who it belongs to, so it can be answered. Namaste works the same way. So whatever confirmation word that suits you best, that's what you use. So if you're reading an affirmation and it doesn't have a confirmation word at the end, you can always still add your own confirmation word for yourself. Some people, when you go through affirmations, when there's multiple lines of an affirmation, some will use the confirmation word after each line, and that is okay too. That is okay too. So when I say Ashe at the end of my affirmation, I'm asking the Ashe, I'm asking all the resources around me to assist me in what I just commanded or asked for. If I say I surrender to my inner self, Ashe, that means I'm asking all the resources around me to help me surrender to my inner self. That means even if it needs to come through someone else. So this, in a nutshell, this is how you surrender in this specific order. Now, your divine ancestors may come and have you add a few things to it, and that's okay. If they tell you to add something, do it. They're going to show you for your highest good. So for those who are watching this from the website, this affirmation will be also there for you to download and keep. And again, you can make changes as you see fit. Hopefully, you have a better understanding in what it means to surrender. Surrender, again, doesn't have to mean that you are bowing down or giving up. Surrender just means to allow things to happen as they should, right? So allow yourself to surrender to your own self, to your purpose, your abilities. Surrender to your divine creator, your spirit guides, guardians, ancestors. Allow yourself to surrender. And you will find that it is much easier to navigate this lifetime when you surrender to the lifetime that you chose. Before I end this video, I'd like to do grounding one more time, and then I will release using the symbol Raku, which is a Karuna Ki Reiki master symbol, that of a lightning bolt, placing the center, placing this symbol right into the middle of the body, and allowing it to ground us to the earth, Ashe. Peace and blessings to you. I'll see you next time.